Hi, I'm Kat. I play Sims and I built a house for a sketchy tattoo artist in The Sims 4. I built this one in Nordhaven, which is the world that came with businesses and hobbies. I tried to match it to the architecture of the surrounding houses, so they were quite modern looking and they had this really almost random window placement on them and high peaked metal roofs, so I used a warm coloured siding from the pack and the black metal roof, and I actually really liked the way the outside turned out. The idea for this one was a house for a sim who had a decent amount of money and was well enough off to have a nice little house, but they make a lot of their money by giving really sketchy tattoos in a dodgy little garage space. So I made quite a nice little main house and then a really grimy garage. I put it all in an enclosed yard that could only be accessed from the main house. The house itself is fairly small, it's just one bedroom, but it's really nicely done out, and the only thing that's quite unpleasant is the garage space where the tattoos happen. There's no ticket kiosk because this is not a legitimate business. Moving inside, I've mapped out the floor plan already. I'm using a businesses and hobbies floor in quite a warm tone, and then I've got base game and growing together in the bathroom. Everywhere else, I use the refined living room wallpaper, and then I just put some of the restoration workshop in the garage that sort of has an exposed look to it. I added Grange mudroom, patio and driveway, and then I put some lights in, and again I used restoration workshop out in the garage. Most of the bedroom furniture is a mix of businesses and hobbies, Grange mudroom, and I've got a mirror from Lovestruck, which is one of my favourites because it's really big. It takes up a lot of wall space. There's a curtain from Dream Home Decorator and a rug to match as well because they fit that muted green and brown that I've got on the bed. And I used some of the artwork from the refined living room kit as well because it's modern and it tiles nicely. Of course, the side table is covered in the Comfy Gamer kit. I've got the candle, the water bottle and the open book, as well as some everyday clutter tissues. I moved them around on the surface and then I got some plants. This one is from Refined Living Room that I moved over at the side table, and then I got this base game plant that I really like, and some more Grange mudroom stuff on the side table as well as Refined Living Room. I put board games and things up on top of the bookshelf to clutter it, and I moved some stuff into the open spaces as well just to make it more busy. I moved into the bathroom next. I've got Dream Home Decorator for the tub, Sleek Bathroom for the shower, and what used to be my favourite toilet from Seasons before Sleek Bathroom came out. And I've got the sink from Businesses and Hobbies, so there is a big mix of stuff in here. I just moved stuff into the wall a little bit to make everything fit, so I covered on the other side with the Comfy Gamer shelves and desk. And then I moved back into the bathroom and just did all the clutter bits. I put up a mirror from Lovestruck, just a few towels and bits and pieces like that. Lots of clutter on the surfaces and just a little shelf over the top of the toilet and a divider between the shower and bathtub. I added a couple of rugs and bath mats. The rug was from Snowy Escape and the bath mats are from the bathroom clutter kit, and then I just got a bit of artwork on the wall from Dream Home Decorator to match. I went to that little office space out in the hallway and just cluttered up the shelves with as much stuff as I could. Quite a lot of it was from kits, so there's a lot of Comfy Gamer and Grange mudroom in particular, but then I've just got a couple of random little bits like the Enchanted by Nature freezer bunny in there as well. This was before Adventure Awaits came out, so I've got the fake free weights from Lovestruck and an industrial loft rug as well, and a little hanging plant, and then I moved on to the sitting room area. I've got Dream Home Decorator units and mostly stuff from the Refined Living Room kit because aside from Businesses and Hobbies, that kit was carrying the whole build. And then in the kitchen I've got Home Chef Hustle because it's got that exact muted green swatch that I'd used everywhere else. I used base game counters because they were a little bit less plain, but I did go back to Home Chef Hustle for the upper cabinets and that little shelf in the corner. I brought in the kitchen clutter kit for the sink and some clutter items, and I got the rug from Sleek Bathroom, which I pretty much always use in front of ovens because it just looks nicer than most of the rugs. I did a little bit less cluttering than usual because I didn't really have any open shelves, so I just put a couple of items down and a little towel by the sink. And then Grange mudroom came in again at the entryway with the table. I put a little mirror up above and some bits of clutter. I've gotten into a habit of using the bowl from the Refined Living Room kit and putting the keys and phone into it just so that it looks a little bit more interesting. I've got the no shoes sign up and some of the shoes from the Grange mudroom kit, and I just rearranged everything to look a bit more natural. The dining area was again a mix of businesses and hobbies for the table and dream home decorator for the chairs. The dream home decorator, businesses and hobbies, and refined living room kit all seem to have the same green swatch in them, and the rug from Grange Mudroom worked pretty well as well. And I just put up a fake backsplash using those little towels we got a while ago and put a couple of bits of artwork up wherever I could fit them, which wasn't much because I had a lot of window on this build. I put in a couple of plants and put a big one outside. This would have been my chance to put out a mailbox, but unfortunately I forgot as usual. I put in a pool with a Riviera retreat trim on it and a little towel from Life and Death. This is Nordhaven, so you can't not put in a bike. And then I've got a fire pit and a basketball hoop because it seemed to fill that space in the back corner nicely. I've got Desert Lux seating around the fire pit and a little grill, and then I just put in my terrain paint before I went on the tattoo studio section. I did put a little bit of simple landscaping out, but nothing too extreme because Nordhaven doesn't have a lot of that. And then I went to make the studio as different as I could from the main house. I'd already put some empty boxes in there. I got a really worn looking swatch of the tattoo table, and then I put as much cracking and grime and disgusting little wall details as I could from a couple of different packs. And for the surfaces, I used Restoration Workshop again as well, because I just wanted everything to look worn out and really unpleasant compared to the main house. I got the really knackered looking sofa from Werewolves for the seating area, and I did put a businesses and hobbies table in here, but it's kind of like a trestle table, so it's not a very fancy one. I got some wall art up. It was mostly graffiti, but there was a few nicer looking bits as well that were really the only nice thing in this area. And then I put a few bits of glitter out from the kit and a pipe on the outside. I wanted a neon light, but then ended up getting a mirror instead with sort of a neon background on it, and I just put a really plain brown rug in there. At the last minute, I remembered my ceiling paint, which I don't always do. I put in a couple extra little bits of landscape and just some trees, and then I was basically finished, so enjoy the screenshots. Thanks for watching. Please consider a like and subscribe.